Hey everyone! I've been meaning to do some videos about transgender discourse. The reason why I haven't done so yet is that these topics are difficult to cover. They involve a lot of nuance, and sometimes even historical context I personally didn't live through. This makes it hard to paint a complete picture because my knowledge is likely incomplete too. However, it is still important that I at least try to discuss these topics. What's important to keep in mind about discourse, and I mean real discourse, not furries accusing each other of spreading drama, is that the discussion is more valuable than the conclusion. The why is often more interesting than the what. It would also be helpful if cisgender people could learn which issues specifically are contentious, so they don't accidentally, for example, misrepresent transphobia as feminism. Allyship is appreciated, but please make sure that your information is accurate. And that accuracy part is critical when it's a topic that trans people disagree on. The purpose of this video, however, is explaining why I left the online trans community a few years ago. I am still trans. I started hormones in March 7 years ago, and I did not ever detransition. It's not like that. I just stopped being a member of any online transgender group. It actually took me starting this channel to fully comprehend what went wrong. I was a member of moderated spaces, like those on Reddit and Discord, instead of open spaces like Twitter. These groups revolved around sharing information and support rather than socializing. However, I only found these communities after I had already started transition. At this point, I was already on hormones for several months. Basically, I joined too late to benefit from much of the advice. I still learned stuff, but none of it was essential knowledge. It felt like I was putting more into the community than I was getting out of it, but I still wanted to do what I could to help. A lot of people would leave after a couple years, but I was one of the members who stuck around a long time. It was then that I noticed a cultural divide. Or maybe it was just a cultural incompatibility that was always there but wasn't relevant at the time. People were less interested in hearing from others who were already far into transition. They wanted peers who were about the same depth into transition as they were. This was alienating, because by the time I actually got my life sorted out enough that I wanted to make some trans friends, I was too different. I felt like an artifact from before Caitlyn Jenner came out. However, this was not enough to drive me away. Remember when I talked about discourse? I said the discussion is often more valuable than the conclusion? Well, the mod team, for the group I participated in the most, took a rule-enforced side on a contentious issue. They drew a conclusion. They finalized the discussion. And then when people complained that our freedom regarding the issue was being taken away, they deleted the messages on the basis that we were stirring up drama. I hope this has clarified why I am so passionate about certain topics. What's interesting is that it's not the discourse that drove me away. It was the blatant abuse of power. I did not want to be a member of a group like that. I'm too old, I have no friends here, and the mod team hates me because we disagreed on a single issue. However, I could not just shift focus to one of the other communities I was a part of, because all of them were moderated by approximately the same people. I don't know of any other demographic where if you moderate one group, you moderate them all. I could have looked for a totally new group to join, but at that point I was so burned that I just quit. I know lots of trans people talk about how the community looks after their own and all that, but there are plenty of people like me who slip through the cracks. That is why I started this channel. I make the videos I would have wanted to see when I transitioned. And I know they won't help everyone, but we need variety. We can't just have 10 groups run by the exact same people, especially when they're in it for power and control. The furry fandom has actually helped me reclaim my voice as a trans person. It may not be much, but I have far more reach now than I did before. And some people actually want to hear what I have to say. Actually, I have more friends in general than I've ever had before. My takeaway from this video is that the rationale behind transgender discourse is often more interesting and useful than the discourse itself. Even more broadly, if a topic and the discussion surrounding it do not harm anyone, I think it's fine to have disagreements. If I argued with people over every single small little issue, I wouldn't have time for anything else. But much of trans discourse is related to problems that were caused by cis people having more agency over us than we do over ourselves. Our discussion is about redefining our place in society. Please keep that in mind when I eventually have videos on these topics. Thank you for your support. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.